So how's Game Jam been for you so far?
Yeah, it's been, it's been fantastic. It's fantastic going around seeing all the teams, and there's some really amazing ideas, and I think some of the ideas are just way ambitious. There's just no way they're going to get them implemented by 3 o'clock, but I take my hat off to them, for being so bold and ambitious. It's fantastic to get that feeling of enthusiasm and excitement. I think it's brilliant, absolutely.
Any projects you've seen? We've been walking around here watching the projects. Is there anything that comes to mind that you felt was kind of special?
I think all of them share one thing in common is humour. All of them have a sense of humour to them, and I think quite often we make a lot of games that are very, very serious, and they're about end of the world stuff, and it's just nice to see this sense of humour running through everything. So that's pretty inspirational. I wouldn't pick any. It's a bit early to be able to pick a favourite son out of any of these. Though.
But is there anything you've been in the game industry for quite a while now? Is there anything with the budding designers and game designers and programmers here? Any wisdom that you'd like to one thing that you'd like to tell them?
There's not one thing, there's 1,000 things, but it took me years and years and years of stupid mistakes to realize one simple thing is making something complex doesn't make something good. I used to keep on adding game feature after game feature after game feature without thinking about these fundamental things. Every feature you add to a game, a player has to understand. What I mean by understand is they have to get used to, it has to be balanced, they have to enjoy and see the value of it. So every time you add one level of complexity, each one of those has to be explained and has to be meted out to the player. So keep things simple and pure, and just take one mechanic and just try and stretch it and expand it and surprise people with one simple mechanic. If you can do that, you're probably more likely to get something which is fundamentally good than it is having 10 game features which are, don't quite balance or aren't quite understood by the player.
You're quite famous for talking a lot about your pretty grand ideas, good ideas. But during the last couple of years, it seems like you've slowed down a bit. Is this because of those lessons?
Yeah, I think ever since Fable 1, I kind of made this promise to everybody that I wouldn't continue to spout on about ideas unless they were implemented in the game, because I think people were just getting very frustrated of listening to me and thinking, God, is this going to be in the game? Is it not going to be in the game? Is it going to be important? Is it not going to be important? So I really started to take my time in the press really seriously, and say this one thing to me: I'll only really talk about stuff when I absolutely know it's going to be in the game and it's going to be a feature, and when I talk about that feature I should be able to demonstrate it.
You've been working on like big AAA titles, working on Lionhead and Microsoft for a long time. Do you have times or moments when you miss the less complex days?
Yeah, I miss coding for sure. I really do. It's like a drug. I feel like someone who's given up alcohol. It's been 2 years since I programmed, and I loved it so much, but I just couldn't do what I do now because it absorbs so much time. I really miss it. I miss the feeling of power that being a designer and a coder gives you, is because you have an idea. You don't have to think, right, how am I going to explain that idea? How am I going to get people enthusiastic about that idea? You just sit down and do it yourself.